Right, a very good morning now to you there, Ghana. Thanks so much for your time this morning. It's another day, a Tuesday, one of the days that very, very memorable, if you know what I'm talking about. And because Tuesdays are great days for some of us, I'll tell you later on why. But today is the last day of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Have you checked? Have you helped her to check? Have you helped him to check? Check, check, and check. That's the message we're leaving for the last day of the month. And from now to 9 a.m., it's going to be a wonderful day, letting you know what's in the package soon with my guy and my ladies onto my right and my left. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Have you checked?
Definitely.
Yes. You have?
Certainly.
Yes. Rechecked?
Yes.
Cross-checked?
Double-checked.
Yes.
Double-checked?
All the checks.
Multiple checks?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyday check.
Johnny, I know you have.
That.
I know you have.
Yeah, I mean, just like Daddy Lumba says, check. We've been checking. Yeah. But I've told the ladies, I mean, Mrs. Dugan,
all of them.
Amma and Solace and everybody else, you know, we need to check. And if they can't do it themselves, we could help them. What are friends for?
Yeah,
what are friends for?
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah, what are friends? I mean, what are friends for?
So today is the last day of the awareness. So please just
go out there, and check.
But a reminder, it certainly doesn't mean you should stop checking even as we end October. Certainly keep checking every day of the month if you can so do.
It's so romantic if your husband can check for you. Yeah, it's so romantic.
And if you don't have a husband or a boyfriend, you can just go to the hospital.
I wouldn't even advise for the boyfriend bit, but anyway.
Exactly.
It's okay for you not to advise, but
please,
people will advise.
Just go to the hospital.
Is it your advice?
And allow the doctors to check for you.
Anyway, guys, it's a pleasant morning. It's Tuesday, so you know it's a full-packed show. But Solace has got all the news in the bottom of her belly.
It's a wonderful Tuesday. You know, Tuesdays, I have always said that the days when, you know, you're a student and what's in your pocket is just a few CDs. Tuesdays are, yes, Tuesdays are great days because when you have a lady friend who is attempting to pull you to go to then bonjour to buy a pizza, you have the opportunity to get another free. So great days when we used to be in school because we know we can
free buy one get one free.
We can play
You
swap.
flex small.
You know the way I never did that.
Well, I mean, because you come from the Dabi home.
I never liked pizza. I still don't like pizza. I can go like 5 years without it. It's not something I'll think about. I mean, I can eat it if someone gives it to me, but it's not something I'll really.
You'd rather buy a shoe or something.
So you don't push the guys to go buy it. You don't push the guys to go buy it. Okay.
Solace would rather push you to go and buy a shoe for her. She has every color of shoes in this world.
That is a story for another day.
But you know what I thought about? What time do trotros in Ghana start working? Because as early as 4 a.m. when I'm coming, I see Troskis that are fully loaded.
4 a.m.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering. I mean, it just crossed my mind that what time do they actually start?
1 a.m.
Really? So do they ever close?
No, some of the drivers just swap the cars.
Yes.
Right.
So you will drive up to like 12, and then by 12:30 you come and meet him at the station.
Okay.
Then he takes over. You can go.
Interesting, because I mean, well,
you know
they take care. We take care of our own, don't we?
You know that the kind of work they do, it depends on the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are looking for people who are going to the markets, market women, early market women, people who are traveling, say, from Kufridia to Accra for work. They take advantage and they just make them.
So if you go around, then
my only problem is that those who don't bath, those of them who don't take their bath, the trotro drivers and the mates who don't take their bath,
that is also a different story.
Brush their teeth, and the early morning attitudes that they fuse you with.
Johnny, but you're assuming they haven't bathed. That's why the fuse is there. I don't like that assumption.
I mean,
there's still people who have, and they still, because in the afternoons we've taken trotros that you barely want to sit in it.
Because
I mean, you can
the person
smell
didn't bath
stench
in the morning,
okay,
so it came
Carry forward.
What when you pick a vehicle early in the morning?
I think the only set of people who don't shut down their services at night?
I think so.
No.
Oh, but they go and sleep for the day. Sisters of the night is only the night.
Chop bar.
In the morning
but the
close.
night ends at 4.
Indomie eating joints.
Yeah, Indomie joints.
A few other
game
places.
centers.
But that's 24-hour, shops and stuff. So.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I wish this economy was a 24-hour economy.
We've said it before.
At 12 midnight, I could go to the ministries and transact a business. It would save us some some traffic, some time, because sometimes you find it very difficult getting to do business in the course of the day. But
well, I guess that's why the automation of a lot of things would help, because then you can access stuff very easily at any time, anywhere.
I'm told that most of the automation being done means that you can transact their business and complete it. So if it means picking up a certificate, you can go and pick it up the next day. Just walk in there and go and pick it up. So that you can do all the transaction online on your own and comfort of your own. And I think that is good. I think the port paperless system, you know, encourages a bit of that. So you can clear your goods even before you get to the port. And when you get to the port, you
we'll see.
Go to the port. Anyway.
So, I mean, Solace has got news. And,
indeed, I have.
The news about her is that she has every color of shoe in the world. Every color. I'm not kidding you. Every color.
You know, you can't talk about my shoes without actually getting me one. So, if you want to talk about my shoes,
I'll get you a Chinese
green shoes.
No, I'll get you a Chinese.
I'm curious. I'm curious.
Right, you know Chinese combat.
If Johnny is talking about your shoes, it means that he's been to your room
several
times.
She leaves the shoes up there in the production room.
Oh, okay.
That's a disclaimer.
Okay, it's now time for other news, or more serious news from the updates from the world of health, education, business, as well as politics, and of course, weather coming up. Good morning once again. I am Solace Rose Quarty. This is Morning News. Into our first story, the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the security agencies have clamped down on unapproved sale of car ball bearings in the Tema metropolis. Over 20 shops were rid of the substandard product. This is a report by Frederick Clarence Peters.
Trade and Industry Ministry, National Security and the police swooped on the retailers of substandard car ball bearing and some illegal products in the Tema municipality. Over 20 stores were raided, while several quantities of the substandard products were seized. The Executive Director of SKF Brand Protection, Tina Astrom, expressed concern over such products on the market, which she linked to needless road accidents. She called for a collaborative effort between government and the various security agencies to halt smuggling and sale of unapproved products in the country.
These bearings, they go into elevators, pumps, fans, cars. And of course, the counterfeit ones are of very unpredictable quality, could cause major accidents.
Moving on, the Kwewu Youth for Social Development has called for the deployment of more police personnel to communities in Kwewu where Fulanis are resident. Now, President of the group, Solomon Tete, in a statement, indicated beefing up security is necessary to prevent the recurrence of clashes between Fulani herdsmen and indigents. 9 persons have been confirmed dead in a reprisal attack between nomadic herdsmen and residents of the Kwewu East district of the Eastern region. The attacks occurred in separate incidents over the past 4 days. Clashes between residents and herdsmen trace back to almost a decade, with several lives lost. And to some other stories, the body of a 24-year-old butcher has been found in a bush near Kuga, a suburb of Yendi in the northern region. The suspected murder led to reprisal attacks on some Fulani herdsmen by the youth in the town.
Over the presence of Fulani herdsmen at Yendi follows similar disputes which have left 8 persons dead in some parts of the Kwewu East district of the Eastern region. Preliminary investigations by the police at Yendi revealed that Ibrahim Abdullahi was found dead on Sunday, October 29, at about 6:30 p.m. The body has since been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital morgue. According to police reports, 4 nomadic herdsmen in the Yendi township were found with multiple degrees of injuries at 10 p.m. on Sunday. After the death of Ibrahim Abdullahi was communicated, the youth in the town went on rampage and attacked the 4 herdsmen. No arrest has been made.
The Gender Ministry is to review child-related legislation to prevent juvenile offending. Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister Otiko Afisa Jaba says this is necessary in the wake of increased numbers of defilement and rape cases in the country.
Witnessed outrage from a cross-section of the public after the case of a 4-year-old girl defiled was reported at the same at the DNTM. The calls have been many: swift prosecution of the juvenile offender and care to be offered the victim.
We are going to provide shelter and accommodation. We are going to look at her health and ensure that her psychological state, the mother, the father, the child, the family, how we can reintegrate them into their community. And so it is not only the victim, it is the community that they have to go back and live in.
The ministry says as cases of defilement and rape surge, there is a need for reforms.
We are going to look at juvenile justice, for example, areas in which there is a gap, like we are finding out today, that a child was left, alone is part of the issue. What do we do to ensure that children are protected when their parents are absent?
There are calls for a waiver of medical expenses of victims. The Ghana Police Service says it will go a long way to extend help to victims' parents.
At the police hospital, which is in Accra, we do not charge for such examinations. I do know that some other facilities do charge, but these are not within the control of the police service. And so we will also appeal, we will join the voices in appealing that some kind of policy or some kind of regulations or rules are made so that victims who have, people who have suffered these crimes and who need medical attention can get the medical attention for free.
Now, away from that, the Trade Union Congress wants government to introduce reforms to revive key national assets instead of outright privatization. Speaking at a meeting with President Akufo-Addo at the Flagstaff House, the TUC also called for financial support for the Labour Commission.
The president meeting with the executive body of the TUC is his first since assuming office. Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress appealed to government to support the Labour Commission deal with backlog of cases.
The National Labour Commission needs special attention. Currently, there are hundreds of industrial dispute cases pending at the National Labour Commission. In order to clear this huge backlog of cases, we suggest that the commissioners should be given the necessary incentives to sit at least 4 days per week instead of half a day per week. In the medium term, a more sustainable way to ensure that industrial disputes are settled very quickly and that justice is not delayed is to amend the Labour Act, Act 651.
Dr. Yalba advised government to tread cautiously on the ECG concession and the sale of some units of the VRA.
The Labour Act, Act 651, provides that in a reorganization such as what is happening at the ECG, the incumbent job holders must be paid redundancy benefits. But MIDA has sidelined the Public Utility Workers Union, and it is trying very hard to use the back door to engage ECG workers directly. That is the main reason why the union has gone to court to seek an injunction on the concession process. I urge you, Mr. President, to intervene to ensure that the union is properly engaged so that Ghana can benefit fully from the compact.
He again called for radical reforms at the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) to make it more viable. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuiwa, responded on behalf of government.
You agree with me that when it comes to issues of law, he's number one. You can't just ignore the provisions of the law and then go ahead to establish your own structures, without regard to the law. So what we need to do is that we'll have to carry out the reforms, starting from actually making sure that the legal regime itself is looked at, and where necessary, the reforms will start from the amendments of the law. If there need be, also that we may have to even come out with a new law altogether, we may have to do.
President Akufo-Addo has described as disturbing political events in Togo and revealed government's efforts at engaging political actors in ensuring lasting peace. The president made the revelation when he received chiefs and elders of Aplao traditional area at the Flagstaff House.
The traditional authority from Aplao in the Ketu South municipality was at the presidency to thank the president for his policies and appealed for the completion of projects started by the previous administration. Paramount Chief of the Aplao traditional area, Togwiga Amenya Fiti V, called for the creation of an additional district in Ketu district and appealed for government intervention in the Togo crisis.
The consequences of this impasse, if not peacefully resolved, could result in refugee inflow into Aflau, which could adversely affect our economy and security.
President Akufo-Addo assured the chiefs of effort to address their request on the creation of new district. He, however, revealed government effort at addressing the political crisis in Togo.
The events that are taking place next door in Togo are disturbing for all of us. I remember vividly what happened in 2005 when the former president Eyadema died. There were problems over the succession. Over 100,000 refugees streamed across the border to take out. Many of them, I think, are still there. They have not gone back to Togo. So I know that anything that happens in Togo is a matter of very, very great concern. And it is a concern to me and to all the people of Ghana. You can be sure that I cannot be idle while these events are taking place. The Togolese president came to see me in Tamale 10 days ago for a long discussion. I've been meeting other political actors in the situation, and definitely we're all talking to see how we can bring this crisis to a closure and bring stability and peace back to Togo.
The president again appealed to the chiefs to work with law enforcement agencies to draw positive benefits from the open border policy.
Now, away from that, managing consultant of Goodwill International Group, Philip Akpene-Asibit, has told an Accra High Court the state is pushing for the court to believe the contract between him and the NYEP never existed because he cannot get access to some documents. He insisted the contract between his consultancy firm and the NYEP existed, stressing some individuals have hidden some documents from the court to prevent him from properly pursuing his case.
Managing consultant of Goodwill International Group, Philip Akpene-Asibit, has told the court there is a grand scheme by the state and some individuals to deny him justice. He said documents presented to the court and the information from some witnesses indicate that he had a contractual agreement with NYEP that led to the payment of some monies. This was after he was told by the state prosecutor Evelyn Kilson that he had no contract with NYEP and available documents proved to that effect. Philip Akpene-Asibit insisted he had a contract with NYEP, but former Director General of Management Development and Productivity Institute MDPI, Dr. Shaibu Gariba, will not make available some documents for his defense. He argued if he had no contract with NYEP, why will the predecessor of Dr. Gariba, Dr. Martin Zeme, witness the previous MOU and tripartite agreement signed by GIG, NYEP and Westcam, where he was also briefed of other engagements. He also disagreed with prosecution that he had no consultancy agreement awarding consultancy services to GIG and MDPI, which prosecution stated is evident in the invoices tendered in as evidence, which he claimed money for. He again denied the claim that he signed as managing consultant for MDPI, which he said he couldn't have done because he never held such a title with MDPI. Meanwhile, the case between businessman Alfred
Agbesi Woyome, and the state was adjourned to November 13. The Lands Commission was expected to appear before the Supreme Court to answer questions on the ownership of the Abelemkpe property, which Woyome currently occupies but has denied ownership. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News, Accra.
The Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Kweku Ofosu-Asamoah, is requesting financial clearance from government to appoint more lawyers for the Commission. With more than 1,200 cases pending, the Commission has only one lawyer.
The National Labour Commission was set up by Act 651 to adjudicate industrial disputes. These include wrongful dismissals and termination of appointments. The Commission, with 2 offices, operates solely from head office in Accra, where computers are inadequate and lacks space to keep archival materials. Its Western Regional Office is also ill-equipped. Transport is by means of 2 official cars and motorcycles, which need to be repaired.
This vehicle parked here belongs to the National Labour Commission. It's supposed to assist the Commission to work, but currently it is faulty, and the Commission says it doesn't have funds to help it fix this particular vehicle. Initially there were 2, but the Executive Secretary himself has to finance the first one by paying close to 1,000 Ghana cedis to get the other one on the road. Will the Commission be able to raise additional funds to get this vehicle back on the road?
You came from Tema, the vehicle will have to go to Tema. The same vehicle will go to Aburi. The same vehicle. There are cases where I have to give off my official vehicle for them to use.
The Commission, with more than 1,000 cases pending, requires at least 4 lawyers in Accra.
I have also written to Tema, the municipal authority, so that in future they could be posting the newly trained lawyers who come out and those who did industrial relations, dispute resolution.
Of major concern to the LNC is that of the commissioners who are part-time workers.
There have been cases where allowances for the members of the commission have been delayed for 6 to 10 months. Because they are part-time commissioners, they sit once a week, only on Wednesdays. And on Wednesdays, they come in the afternoon. These are the time when they would have attended to their work, either as lawyers, either at their various engagements, and they come tired.
The Commission is appealing for support from the labor unions as well.
The Controller and Accountant General's Department has implored industries to conduct thorough investigations before employing accountants. The Deputy Controller, Samuel Aite Ayi, raised the concern at an induction ceremony for 248 chartered accountants in Accra.
The Deputy Controller at the Accountant General's Department, Samuel Aite Ayi, expressed concern about charlatans of the profession. In 5 years, more than 10 persons have been arrested for claiming to be accountants. The most disturbing factor to the controller are industries which fail to conduct thorough investigations before employing accountants.
I'm calling upon all industries that when they are going to employ, they do not even employ quack accountants. They must actually look at those that have the professional qualifications that can handle their finances and advise them well for the growth of their companies.
Deputy Minister of Education in charge of pre-tertiary, Barbara Yisi, challenged the chartered accountants to avoid compromises.
I urge you to avoid petty compromises and questionable shortcuts. Be bold, confident, and resolute to uphold the ethical principles associated with your profession.
President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, ICAJ, Christian Soti, called for ethical values among the inductees.
Now, the school feeding program through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is asking caterers who have not received all their arrears to report to either the Regional or National Secretariat for redress. Public Relations Officer of the program, Siba Alpha, says the Secretariat through the Ministry of Gender has released 16 more days of the arrears owed the caterers.
Officer Siba Alpha indicated over 151 million cedis had been released to the caterers since March this year, with the latest one being last week for some 16 days. But the caterers denied the 16 days, saying some of them received payments ranging between 5 to 7 days and some have not received anything at all. But the public relations officer said some deductions are being made because some of the women had procured food items from the Secretariat on credit as well as from Maslock, and asked that such persons report to the Secretariat for redress.
Sometimes the caterers might not have provided services throughout the 16 days. Many months have elapsed, so a caterer might not necessarily remember whether she has cooked or not cooked. So a caterer might not necessarily know that this is the trajectory.
The PRO insisted it will be difficult for government to pay the caterers outright since the program is a pre-financing one.
When you quantify all these monies that we have paid them, you are going to get 151,152,000 Ghana cedis, 850 cedis. The rest of the feeding grants, which is about 100 days, will be paid in due course, because we have made a request from the Minister of Finance for a release of the remaining arrears.
Last week, caterers of the school feeding program who said their jobs had been taken away from them embarked on a peaceful march and later presented a petition to the Gender Ministry demanding outright payment of their arrears.
And now for the weather forecast for the next few hours.
The weather report is brought to you by
And that's all for morning news here on TV3. I am Solace Rose Corte. The NewDay team takes over after this. Don't go away.
Welcome back. So as you know, it's time for headlines. Let's start off with a finder. It says TUC tables 7 key issues to government, including redundancy package for ECG workers. Also, corruption is a flashing signal that something is wrong. That's coming from Dr. Aqua. Also, cocoa farmers must earn more from their toil. That's coming from the president. Then Togo crisis, Nana Addo met for 10 days ago. And then finally, minister cautions public against sharing pornographic images. That's coming from the Minister of Communications.
Well, I think that redundancy packages are very crucial. Knowing that you're leaving the job and going home and you're properly catered for.
Yeah.
The issue is about the ECG thing. It's lingered on for a long time, and with a lot of uncertainty as to what they will get, what they won't get, whether people will lose their jobs or not. I think that the narrative has now changed, because back in the day, we're told that nobody will lose their jobs. But now the narrative is changed to redundancy packages, which means that, well, people may lose their jobs. But what exactly is it? Are we abiding by the same content of the contract from back in the day, or are we changing anything as we're moving on? And the ECG workers have been up in arms with whoever is trying to trade off ECG privatizing.
The case is even in court?
Yes, it is in court, and they have not been excited. These were the exact concerns that they expressed back in the day, and it looks as if it's coming. But the president is assuring that no worker will be left off or will be worse off.
For me, Johnny, that kind of assurance, for me, which which package, whether you're given your redundancy package or whether you don't get it, and you are moved on to the next company, as Mr. Jakun is suggesting, that if you are paid your redundancy package, be ready to quit.
Definitely.
Or don't take it and you get moved on to the next company. When the president says no worker will be worse off, I'm a bit, I want to stay in the middle. When he says worse off, as in what? I've worked for company A for 20, 25 years, 30 years. The company has changed hands. I don't get paid anything. I am moved on to the next company. Does it make me better off? It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It keeps you probably at a standstill.
Yes,
you're still the same.
Because while I was working with the old company, I was contributing.
Right.
I was earning.
Yes.
So if you are cleaning off that part,
and the law is clear. At 651, the Labour Act says
2003.
that once a company is moved into a new environment, another hand is taken over, you got to get these workers properly paid off, and then you can move them on. Now, the Energy Minister says that if we pay you off, we can't assure you of re-employment.
But that's what the law says.
So it doesn't make me good. The law says pay me off, and then you can negotiate for my movement to the next one.
Yeah.
And yet, the Energy Minister says we can't pay you and assure you of employment in the next company. So if we say that workers won't be worse off, I have no idea. But since it is in court, the workers themselves are not too happy. TUC, I'm glad, is now pointing to government that indeed there's something wrong. Let us fix it. And that we can't even make ECG a better entity than simply offloading whatever it is to managers. I am praying that we'll get a settlement from the court.
Certainly. But out of the 7 key issues, they raised, one of them is that they're against the sale of VRE thermal plants. They also want to stop fake textiles coming into the system. Then he spoke about their Tier 2 pension, and then NLC staff to be made full-time workers. And of course, the redundancy package for the ECG, and strengthening the tripartite committee that exists between government and then the labor organizations. Definitely, these are legitimate issues.
Why do you want to sell off
thermal
VRE thermal plants?
Exactly.
What is it for? We're told that it looks like VRE has too much on its hands. And so selling thermal plants off will then allow VRE to concentrate on the other side, the dams, if I should put
power
it that
generation.
But no, the dams, and so that it can effectively manage the hydro, the hydro. Now, is that indeed the problem with VRE? Is VRE unable to manage hydro and thermal
at the same time?
Is that a problem? I don't think so. I am saying that, or what I know is that VRE's problem is the fact that when they generate power, those who offload or take the power cannot pay VRE.
Exactly. They don't pay for it.
They don't pay.
They cannot pay.
They don't pay for it that way. Okay, so government itself is indebted to ECG. ECG is unable to make money to pay for the power it takes from Gridco and VRE. So VRE is in debt. Then you say that, okay, we're going to sell your thermal plant so that you concentrate on hydro because we think that is where you have the expertise. It's a bit confusing.
But
I don't get it.
Right, you know, on the issue of debts, we are always told that, well, government owes VRE, government owes ECG, and government owns, whichever organization is in the tripartite.
Right.
So it's more like, I am government, you are government. If I owe you and you owe me, it's okay.
It's
equal. So first of all, you are not even giving them a chance to function at the optimal level because you owe them. They need the money to run their operations. You have not paid them, and now you want to sell off. It doesn't make sense.
Because your point is that they have too much on their hands.
It
doesn't make sense.
Because, again, like we've raised, so if we leave VRE with just the hydro, and you're still not paying them. Exactly. So the root problem is the fact that you don't pay. So it's revenue collection that has an issue. It's not even the collection, because I'm sure VRA does propose that you pay, but they say we don't. I mean, we can't, or we don't want
if
to.
You
so
if you owe electricity in your home, ECG will come at you. Definitely. It could be 80 Ghana, it could be 120, it could be whatever amount. ECG will come at you. They will take the money. I'm wondering why ECG is not able to go to the ministries, departments, and agencies to go and collect the money.
Johnny, I'm very sure they do.
I'm wondering.
I'm certain they do, but you and I know that these things, they will tell you there's a process it has to go through.
So if they
and
owe
these
you
processes,
and they are
we
not
know
paying,
we change hands all the time. So they will tell you, oh, we just took over. Wait and let us settle down, and then we'll handle it. Because I don't think ECG will be, the managers of ECG will be happy to sit down and say, oh, you know, government owes us, but let's just turn a blind eye. I'm sure they actively want to take their money. But they'll tell you we're going through the process.
Look, if our viewers owe ECG and ECG gets in there and you're not able to pay, what do? They disconnect your lights. Okay. Why can't ECG go and disconnect lights?
So you and I know when you disconnect the big man's lights, you just call
who is the big man?
Guy.
Who is the big man above the law? The big man is not above the law.
Johnny, let's not speak as if we don't know how Ghana works.
We're in this country when Anas did an expose and told us how big companies and big men owe big industries, owe Ghana ECG so much money. What has happened? Who has gone to collect even a penny? Johnny, millions of cedis. And yet, when they are cash-strapped, they will come at the ordinary man who owes 30 cedis, 40 cedis, and treat the person as if you have committed a heinous crime. Look, we need to be serious in this country sometimes.
Let's look at this scenario. Now, we know hydro is drying out. Akonsombo is not producing anything for us. We is not adding much. The others are simply not. Hydro is simply, for me, very soon, hydro contribution to the energy mix will become negligent. We can ignore it. As of now, thermal contributes more than hydro. Now, you want to sell off ECG thermal plant, VRA thermal plant. What it means is that you are collapsing VRA. Exactly. When hydro is dried out totally, there will be no VRA. There will simply be no VRA because hydro is simply now getting to become negligent in this whole mixture. So the whole thing is a bit confusing. I don't know the idea behind it, but I think that it has to be resisted. And I am happy that the TUC is taking the lead and has told the president in the face that please don't do this because we don't support it.
But Bright, you know, it looks as if it's already a done deal because by 2018, mid-2018...
Well, we're told already.
Yes, it's already... Yes, they're shopping for it. So we have some 40 industries that came for it and now it's been shortlisted. So by 2018, mid-2018, it will happen. I mean, maybe the court will decide. But this is how terrible the situation looks.
I am happy that TUC is in the lead. We hope to see something done.
At least that's stakeholder engagement.
We will rant.
Elvis, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, we will rant. But let's check out 3news.com quickly. Yes, okay, so this is it. Fearful political desperados. All correct, sir. That's the police saluting. That's a political vigilante. And, well, what is happening there? They're dragging the seized government facilities and government appointees. They're dragging them, and for stealing 2 tubers of yam, and you rot inside. That's the police telling somebody who stole 2, and they are saluting the political vigilantes. That's Tilapia's expression. So the political vigilantes can get away with everything, and yet if you're a small or a petty thief, I don't know. So this is it. This is what we have. We will get there. But Junior Agogo's story is very sad one indeed. Where's the story? His story is very sad. That he had stroke now. He says all his friends have abandoned him, and he can't even find the words to express how bad he feels about it. This was a man who played for our national team, and everybody was hailing him, Junior Agogo, Junior Agogo. And today, well, this is here he is. And,
it's rather unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. I want to show you something, Ahmad. So when the admin, the Facebook, the WhatsApp admin is drunk, and you send a number, it says, well, add these numbers. These are phone numbers. It says, sure. And then it's 12, 44 a.m. by the way, and he says, okay, he adds the numbers plus this one equals this one. He's done.
He's even done well. I don't think he's drunk.
Yeah,
I think
he's not drunk.
actually really
He's
thinking
taking the instructions.
for
The
him
man
to
said,
be able to calculate all this.
These two numbers. Yes.
But he's adding the contact of.
No, but
you say, please add these
add them
contacts
to the contact.
to
He said
the list.
add the two numbers. And he's added the two
So
numbers.
he's playing by the rules.
Yes.
It's how you understand the English.
All right.
Anyway, guys, but it's time to rant. Today on Ghanaian Times, we also have 16-year-old boy remanded for defiling girl who is 4 years old. So this ascendancy of sexual harassment, defilement, rape is real, and we're talking about it. Yesterday we ranted in the streets, but today George hits Accra to hear what you also have to say.
Currently trending on social media is a petition seeking justice for a defiled 4-year-old girl in Asimfosu in the central region. Hardly a day passes without some of these heinous crimes being reported in the media. And I can give you some few cases. Somewhere last year, an 80-year-old presbyter at Peki in the Volta region defiled a 3-year-old girl. And also, an ice water seller in the central region was also gang raped by some 4 persons. And in the Bono Alfo region, a 24-year-old boy defiled a 4-month-old sister. The list goes on and on. Considering the enormity of this problem, what is the way forward? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking. I am multi-rape cases. Obi no be that we're raping, and maybe a 60-year-old we're raping 3-month-old. How do you feel?
Yes, now one. Some dresses in a higher. What I say? Also, old man, what bread on in the I'm why you saw then you are funu. What I say? Oh, pay zero. What I say? Oh, who's all this cabin? No, but if you talk say old man, you see tear over like the way the girls dress makes the man get appetite to have something. What of those old men who then they defile babies then? How babies they dress? Maybe they wear pampers.
I am bonnet. Because at that age, any sir 3 months akolano, 3 months akolano, akono be na one who would defile no. Yenya dear sir, it is an oti jail. Spiritual, and your question, in fact, you deliver because you don't do that. It is never done in any way. Bra, what you say?
I can't go in say, a member need to go home, Sabio. I'm just a mudiama calling chicken. Yanam, Amunam, even but down for crowd, bet me. Because I quite a trainer so. On poor bar, no, any line, not in interest in income. I quite like it to 3 months. What need die then Sabio? I quite 3 months, then I want to. Well, we say woman, what poor bar, now in that now and in Naka. I quite like 3 months. Now, who fan I rip, no, we never know.
Okay, come here. Okay, really. What she was saying, I could say positively right, but not all of them for lust. Some of them for rituals. You see, most of them for rituals, because I don't think, assume a small girl like this and you want to have something with the person. I don't know how you feel and what will you get from the small girl.
I disagree. I agree with you because sometimes it's selfishness. Selfishness and greediness. Because taking someone at your age, you think having an affair with that person, you are going to pay.
Exactly.
You understand? And so, that is why I'm saying it's selfishness and greediness.
But because you don't open up to the guys.
See, my dear, you guys don't pay. Maybe and as long as you don't pay, we will not open up to you.
You were a young lady, and one concern from this guy is that some of you guys should dress provocatively. So you guys are the reason why they would want to, you know.
But you can't see someone dressing, you just call the person.
But if you are dressing mini skirt and all that, one
forget about dressing. It's last. It's last, my dear. It's last. Okay, let me see. Even Bible says that looking at a woman and lasting for the person automatically. What do you want that? No, she know about come. What do you want that?
Who did made TV? Maybe wife at 2 point. We feed mama no made a short or the snap now. Why you need nufu? And I was a Bema, I didn't know any.
No, but I thought it's
nonsense.
Self-principles and having principles with yourself. That's it is moral, self-morals. If you are religious, you have your own kind of morals. You believe this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. I'm in love with a woman. She says she's traveling somewhere, she's gone. Why will I have to look at my name? In the first place, if you know you can't control your sexual desires, why do you get a name? Yes, no.
You can control your emotional desires. You can control it, my dear.
My dear, let me come in. You know something? When we look at a woman dress up, and even the skirt she is wearing is as short as look at this. In some years ago, the women, when they sew a dress, they cut it from this side. But now see where the bridge. Sure. You are seeing everything flare here. You see, so even this time they hip it up and they put cross between.
She was not calling you, baby. No, listen to me, my dear. I disagree with you because Bema dear, what's in your mind? What's in your mind? See me. Bema go on, ma. Obeka say na yi na dress piano. Na you want. No.
Obia with 3 months or she miniskirt. If you are telling me it is the fault of the girls because of the way they dress, if you are telling me you are hungry, so any shop you meet or any restaurant, you just walk in and eat their food. If it is yours, you can't say that. We all have the flow to eat. That doesn't mean you have to go anywhere and eat. No. The fact that somebody is dressed bad or he doesn't say come and have sex with me, he doesn't say that.
George is talking about 3 months, not 25, 28, 30 years. No 3 months. It's a 3 months, baby.
According to a Dopsy report, those people that defile these young girls, they have a relationship with like more like the perpetrators, they know the victims. The victims. Exactly. There's a cordial relationship. Sure. So I don't get it. How would you want to spoil a relationship you have with someone? You're trying to say I'm in mobile with you 4 years. Say I'm a man, it's me change this car. It's because of that I want to take advantage of that.
That is it. That's very bad. That is very bad. It happens. It happens because they send them.
No, I agree with what George is saying right now. But I'm saying that what at all are you saying on that child? That will push you to rape that baby.
It's a lust.
That's what I said earlier on that. It's a lust.
It's a lust.
Because there's nothing like akono. Akono didn't akola.
No.
It don't akola.
The person it doesn't
think of akono. Akono boni. Ya wa akono and ya wa akono boni. What yes? Oh, am I lying?
Oh, yes.
I'm making a point, my dear. You are kono and you are kono boni. Exactly. It is sabi at that age. That's a whole far kola 4 years. I are kono boni. And it's only a chihuahua. Okay. Simple.
And this is not the first time I had to say you had rape you be and you defile you be. But Osha, it still continues. Exactly. Penny for. We are always trying to put everything onto the government or something. You're penny for. There are some people who have been raped since age of 5 till date. They've not said a word about it. They haven't told anybody. There are people who have been raped. There are people who are raped every day in their homes. They are raped every day, but they don't tell anybody.
It happens. Why?
How will the police work with it if you don't tell anybody? How will your mom work with it if it doesn't happen?
What is the reason?
The only reason is because one, there is no trust. You said most people who are raped happens to have some relation with the because they build the trust. There's the trust there. Oh, this man sends me. This man knows my mom, so he can't do anything to me. Then, because of the trust, it happens. Now the person who is raped doesn't have the trust between the mom or even the society he or she is living in, and then it happens that they can't go and report. If I tell my mom, what will my mom see? If people hear that I have been raped, how would they see me? Then the issue of rape is silent. They put it in the cupboard.
No, I agree.
Something. Okay. It was just last week that I just got to know that my female friend, we went to primary and all that, and then at the age of 9 years she was raped. We didn't know about it until last week, and she's almost 28 years. She's 28.
9 years. So let me say 20 years now.
And then she's now bringing this.
So 20 years. when she was 9 and she's not 29. Okay, I agree with you because it happens to my sister's daughter.
And then they
are very close.
Sure.
3 months. What is 3 months? I could not bend there. Me that me see me no be rape me ban or be rape me account. And the hospital will say I did be born in Bina Wafa.
Today's discussion has been on how to deal with sexual abuse, rape and defilement in the country. Obviously, the public is not really comfortable with this whole menace and they want instant justice given out to persons that have been abused one way or the other. Let us know what you think about this. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's News TV3. We came to you from La here at Accra. Thanks for watching.
The Ghanaian Times get a chance to start this morning. Privatization of ECG under Compact 2. No worker will be worse of president, assures there. The Daily Guide, no job cut at ECG, Nana assures. And Monocracy rules in NDC, says Kwesi Butcher report. Heritage says fake soldier busted after working with the police for 5 years. The Finder says TUC tables 7 key issues to government, including redundancy package for ECG workers, and Minister cautions public against sharing pornographic images. Those are some of the papers I have with me here. My guest to do the talking this morning, a member of the NDC's communication team, Andy Apiakubi, is here. Yaw Apiakubi, rather. Pardon me. Yaw Apiakubi is here. Good morning.
Andy Apiakubi is
no, yes, Andy Apiakubi is MPP.
One time you organize of our party.
Yes. Yeah, good morning.
Now.
Good morning, Bright.
I hope you're great.
I'm doing well.
Right, you've been away for some time.
Health-wise, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And the MPP's National National Coordinator is already introduced himself. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing great.
Very important.
You escaped that accident.
I made a very important intervention.
Yes.
So that at least viewers would know that the Andy Apiakubis belong to MPP, and maybe the Yao Apiakubis belong to NDC.
But they are the same Kubis. Okay.
Anyway.
All right. And
which of the Kamals belong to the NDC?
Oh, is it? Interestingly, I seem to have a very unique name in the Ghanaian political palace.
Okay, no one has that name.
You know, it appears. The only Kamal
I
D.
have a branch secretary who is Kamal.
Oh, who is Kamal? Yeah. I mean, well, maybe I'm here to see him, but I know of Kamal Dean. I mean, the guy vying to become the youth organizer of the party. You know about him?
Yeah, no, I know about him. All right. Okay, grateful. But thank God you're safe. The accident you escaped, I'm sure.
Sure.
You're grateful to God.
Very, 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 very. I think there's no accident one can term as a minor one. An accident is an accident. I mean, people out of sometimes fear and out of, if you like, panic could get themselves involved with some elements of assault, which actually was as a result of an accident that they were involved with. Thank Allah, nothing like that did happen to any of us in the vehicle. We are fine, and inshallah, the damage also caused on the vehicle, not so much. I can only be thankful to Almighty Allah, or we can only be thankful to Almighty Allah. It happens to everyone, and I don't pray for it to happen to anyone.
But it was, from the look of things, it was a minor accident because you could even come out and take a picture yourself.
We see, interestingly, I mean, this selfie matter was all that then. Like Kamal accident and selfie. It was just to drum home a point that, look, don't get worried. I'm okay. I'm good. To the extent that I had maintained my composure to even take a selfie, I could have given the camera to anyone to take a picture just to prove that I am actually not hurt in a way. Because a human being is the most important, person when it happens, when things like this happen. I mean, you look out for the health of the person, whether or not the person is indeed in a very good health. I had to prove it. And once again, thankful to Almighty Allah for even giving me such, an opportunity to take a selfie to prove to to the
that
world
indeed
that
you are safe and sound.
nothing did
All
happen
right.
to us.
I'm grateful. Let's start with the statesman. Yeah, please give me the statesman.
Selfie is becoming a subculture in their government.
The statesman rather.
You know, it's a subculture in their government.
Okay. Don't mind.
All right.
Your mischief will not fly this morning.
You know that they are taking selfies all over the place.
Your mischief will not fly this morning. Forget about it.
Page 2 of the statesman says, be bold to tackle the lawlessness. Now, the executive director of the Dankwa Institute, Kingsley Nyako, has advocated the need for law enforcers in the country to tackle boldly issues of lawlessness. He believes applying the full force of our law on any individual or group engaged in violent acts in the country will set the example that is needed to nip such acts in the bud. We cannot continue to live at the mercy of the indisciplined few. Let the rule of law and impunity, indiscipline, lawlessness will bow to the delight of society. He was reacting to various acts of lawlessness that had been attributed to some groups that are purportedly linked to the NPP. It will be recalled that last week, Wednesday, the coordinator of the National Youth Employment Agency of Karaga District Office was reported to have fled to Tamale following threat on his life by a group claiming he was being discriminately in a recruitment exercise. Now, if you go to the Heritage, there's a story, Invisible Forces on Rampage Again. They lock up NADMO office. That story is also on page 2. Says that the teaching office of the NADMO has been locked up by some individuals suspected to be members of Invisible Forces, a vigilante group associated with the NPP. That's the story. And President Mahama has been talking about it. There's another, I think the Ghanaian Times has it, trying to pick that story on page 11 or so of the Ghanaian Times. He says vigilantism is becoming something worrying. And yes, page 11 of the Times has a story. The president, former president says vigilantism getting out of hand. Former President John Dramani Mahama has condemned the activities of vigilante groups affiliated to the NPP. And he's also worried how the Akufo-Addo-led government has done nothing to resolve the issue. According to him, political vigilantism is getting out of hand and doesn't seem to be comprehend why government hasn't taken any action till now. Those are some of the stories on the issue. Kamal, let me start with you. Why hasn't government been able to stop this? Is it because those involved are members of the NPP?
Interesting. Once again, very good morning to you. Good morning to our cherished viewers. And I want to say very good morning to Yao. How are you?
I'm fine.
You're happy? You're happy to talk about vigilantism, right?
Well, I mean, why should any
Yao is so happy to talk about vigilantism.
Come on, it's a national issue.
It is.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
And trust me, as I always do, I'm going to handle it as objective as we want it to appear. And clearly, if you take the story from the statesman, where the executive director is calling for, stiffer actions to be put in place to ensure we curb this or we nip this in the bud. I could not have agreed with him the more when he says so. Question is, why has government failed, or why is government unable to stop this? Is that even true? Is it a case that government has not been able to stop it? No, that's not the case at all. As we sit today, people have had cause to blow matters out of proportion. People have had cause to think that due to the politics of the day, let me let this government appear bad in the eyes of many. Okay? I am one of those who are of the school of thought, which says that we should fight solidly. If you like, we should fight solidly.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Are we off?
Hold
on.
Ya Baby's Holiday, coming soon on TV3. 20 years on and we are still rewarding. TV3 is rewarding its loyal viewers for making us the best over the years.
It's real, but I will tell the public to pass it in bed.
We highly appreciated all you've been doing to the mother nation. Happy 20th anniversary.
To win, answer simple questions about TV3 as it appears on your screen. Text your answer to short code 1452 on MTN, Vodafone, Tigo and Airtel and win free souvenirs from TV3. You can also win exciting prizes by calling into 3FM 92.7 and Unia FM 95.1 in Accra and Connect FM 97.1 at Paipano in Takrady. Promos ends on the 31st of October 2017. Terms and conditions apply. You are so important to us, no matter where you come from. TV3 at 20, reshaping news and creating stars.
Sorry for that abrupt interruption there to the program. Welcome back. Kamal, sorry for that. You were making a point when...
Yes. I was saying that I belong to the school of thought that says that, look, let's ensure that the peace and security that we enjoy as a people is not disturbed. Nonetheless, let us also agree that when I talked about politicking, when I spoke about polarization, we will not, push that out. Why? People think it's in their interest to see the government of the day, appearing bad in the eyes of the public, and therefore could, if you like, sit somewhere and push certain people to misbehave. I'm not saying that, yes, the youth of this country, and if you like, the youth of our party, at a point have not had cause to say that, look, we are not happy with certain things, and therefore we feel we've not gotten jobs, we've not been engaged enough, we've not done this. I'm on record to have said that, look, whoever goes out there to woo a voter and to engage the services of a particular voter for his support or her support, please, it is in your own interest, and for that matter, the interest of this country, to continue engaging people in a way.
Yeah, so just what is happening could be work inside. You see, work from within the party.
I am saying that not work from within the party. I'm saying that.
But from where?
I'm not ruling out the fact that people outside could serve as an influence to this matter. I'm not ruling out the fact that we needed to be much more proactive as a party to get our party supporters. Feel that, yes, indeed, the party is more with them. We are together. This is the way governance system goes. It's complex. We will get there. Please just have this. Let's engage each other. Many are those who think that, look, well, I've spoken to this youth of this country. We have youth groupings in this country all over, except to say that some newspapers have chosen to use some names to describe them as terrorists, to describe them as hoodlums, to describe. I will not describe anybody as a hoodlum.
Is it not by their own act?
My good brother, look, right. The truth is that you can choose a particular word and describe anybody you want to in the media, when in fact, when you go down there, it is not the case. I have said that, look, every single political party in this country works with the youth. Works with, if you like, many people who put themselves together, and of course you think that you need their support and all that. Why? Our constitution, as we have it, does not even abhor the act of association. No, it doesn't. So if we put ourselves together and say that, look, we are harmless souls, we are harmless people, we only want to ensure that our multi-party democracy strives on or moves on, then a political party thinks that it's important I reach out to set people, get them to buy into my ideology, let us work together. If you are in power, what I expect of you is to continue trying to engage them, so you mobilize support for your party and continue, because you have future elections to run.
So,
however,
come on. So, in effect, yes, you're suggesting that perhaps some of these youth groups in your party are being left behind, like what the three people will call a didija. That is why this is happening.
It's not a didija, if you like. You see, there are people who, I tell you, They say communication. Communication, as you see it, solves all problems in this world. Someone sits somewhere, just engage him in a communication. Make sure you are in touch with him. Make sure you discuss. He knows you about your problem. You know about his problem. He has hope for the future.
Before I get to now, if you become the youth organizer of the party,
yes.
What would you do differently to prevent this? If what you're
saying, I think for many who are watching me, thank you for giving me this opportunity to maybe try to say, one or two issues about my good self. For many who are watching me and know me very well, I'm the down-to-earth type of politician.
Would that solve the problem?
Let me tell you why. I just identified communication as a measure to, as it were, solve some of these problems. I got a call yesterday somewhere from Kintampo. And I'll say this. A party youth activist called me and said, Mr. Kamal, we did XYZ. Today we are in power. The person we worked with, try to help him. He's here in Kintampo. He doesn't even matter. You go there, he seems not to know you. Then I said, well,
so the DDJ is in.
It's not the DDJ per se. The person knows very well that the one talking to me knows very well the person has no money. We are not sharing money. We're not for the Christmases, if you like. But the point is, like I said, try your best to let the person feel that, look, you are together. In my local palace, in the Bani, we say that, look, if you are suffering and you have a brother around, and let your brother know that you are suffering, and then let's suffer together, you will never have problem. It's not just about eating.
Wrap up, let me go.
Do you understand? So my point here is that let us try as political parties, reach out to people who hitherto we thought that could assist us do so many things. I mean, when I say so many things here, lawfully and legitimately. Come together, let's engage them, let's continue. Let us not create a disconnect between ourselves and the grassroots. It's quite a difficult thing to do, and I think we do that at our own peril. So it's important we reach out to people, we try to get them closer, don't let them feel neglected. And when this happens, some sort of disenchantment will come in, and if you are not careful, somebody goes to make noise and thinks that there's a problem, and you think that there's a problem when there's no problem. Reach out to people, get them involved, let them feel they're part of you, and then you move on. And some of these things will not be there. Let's have very decent communication to them. There are people you call, they tell them, I'm busy, I can't talk to you now. There are people you call, they will never pick their calls, and they will never even bother to come back to you. The point is that as politicians, know you are dealing with the people. Continue to deal with them well. Engage them. If you have nothing, share your problems with them, and trust me, you'll be good to go. That is how we're supposed to be doing.
I'm grateful. Yeah, let me bring you in. So he's identified one way dealing with it, but how should the party itself handle this? Well, is the party doing the right thing?
Well, Brad, good morning to your viewers. Good morning to everybody here. And I mean, listening to Kamal, I got a sense as if he's been out of touch. I think that's what really power does to people. Because listening to him really, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, he took a chunk of the time trying to explain the stimulus that leads to these things, rather actually trying to condemn and let us know that this is something that we need to root out of our body politics. So I was amazed. I mean, you asked in his capacity as youth organizer.
No, I listen when I said I could have breathed. No, I was
making a point.
Yes, allow.
Look, right. What we are talking about here is an essential matter that every Ghanaian, I mean, I've heard people within the Peace Council, I think, coming out to speak against it. I mean, every well-meaning Ghanaian is talking against the trend and what is happening. All we get is this kind of lip service and rhetoric that we will deal with it. We don't tolerate these things. We are firm. We will ensure that the laws work. We just hear talk. But that's all we've been hearing.
A couple of them were recently fined by Kumasi.
I mean, that in itself, we don't even want to go there. I mean, somebody backs into a court and misbehave, and he's only, given a poultry sum of about 1,800. That's the law. And then,
absolutely,
agreed.
That's the law.
But you see, right? When we talk about the law and all these regulations and processes we put in place as a people, the PDA under Nkrumah was a law. But we find people. I'm saying that we find people condemning that law. So, in essence, you cannot say that laws are couched and so exist within an environment and so on. So you cannot say if there are processes and so on that do not seek to punish, to deter, then we need to be discussing and be talking about that. But the more important thing in all these things is the extent to which these things keep escalating. Just when we get an assurance from a government official that it is going to be the end, then invisible forces breaks into the court. We get another assurance from an official, then we hear about Adesu. Get another assurance from another official, then we hear about what is happening in the NADMO office at Kintampo. It is becoming too much. And I think that the better this government wakes up and address these things and minimize the extent to which they seek to equalize. I mean, Kamal was saying that these things are being blown out of proportion and so on.
It is.
Maybe he's being hounded by what they did in opposition. Today, he's saying that when you seek to express a certain phenomenon which is going against, the people and so on, it is an attempt to try to make the government unpopular. What didn't they say when they were in opposition? Are they being hounded by their own bad deeds? We live in a country where people have the right to express themselves. People have the right, the lenses through which they want to assess and define things. And I think that we deserve that respect, to be able to be giving that respect that these are our opinion and this is how we see various phenomena. We don't say that we are blowing them out of proportion. What we are being told is that the government has instructed institutional heads, the IGP and so on, to deal with these people. Look, at the bedrock of all these issues that we are discussing is about the patronage system in our body politics. And I'm saying this, it is something that we need as a country, as a democracy, to be discussing. That to what extent do we uproot this patronage system that seeks to use people to get political power, after which policies are not directly related to alleviating their suffering. And so you hear commentary about people in leadership saying that it is our government. We are going to see to it. These were the assurances that people were giving in opposition. We heard the then government saying that we don't even have confidence in the security services. So you people are going to be the force behind our movement. You people are going to ensure that you deliver power to us. Those were the assurances given to them. That's not true. Who doesn't know? I'm not saying these are my words. Why? Didn't you hear about the training, the assaulting powers of whatever, that they brought these South Africans to come and train people in how to defend, they claim to defend themselves. Now they are defending people and you are complaining. So you see, Brian, what we need to be discussing is a matter that goes at the core of development. A country that is not stable, a country that has a certain high sense of insecurity, there's no doubt that it affects development. And so it's not something that we need to water down and think that it is nothing and try to equalize and say that the NDC era, there were XYZ, and so we don't have the right to even talk about it. Governance is a continuing. We learn from previous mistakes in order to better and to build a better society going forward. So you cannot use the wrongs of yesterday to right today. And that's the attitude that I am expecting this government going forward to adapt. Rather than trying to say that these are people, Kamal is telling us that there are all sorts of youth groups and so on. Nobody is saying that the YMCA misbehaving. Is the YPG of the Presbyterian Church misbehaving? Is a Anomabu Youth Association? Are they misbehaving? Are they youth associations or not? So you don't say that. I'm saying that yes. Come on. Can you let me land? I'm saying that you cannot equate the deeds and the actions of the invisible forces, Delta forces, Abronye babies, Boga Bulldogs, and so on, to the conduct of youth groups like the YMCA and so on. This is something that we need to discuss, and not try to water down youth groups and so on. Here,
not the police. Is that what you're saying?
You see, the point is that there's a clear linkage. Who appoints the IGP? And these also, there's a certain linkage about how we organize all these institutions. Of course, there are people, experts have made commentary to the effect that if the IGP had a certain sense of security of tenure and so on, he will be less, prone to doing things that will, go to the benefit of the ruling government due to a certain level. The president has told him to I'm building a point. And so the fact about the matter that the president appoints the IGP, The president himself is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. I mean, everything ends at his doorstep. So for me, if the commander-in-chief, you've given an instruction to your lieutenants, and they are not heeding to it, what do? If you are not able to act, it's a sign of a weak leader. And that is what I expect the president to do, to act, to ensure that Ghanaians are given a certain sense of assurance in real terms, and not, rhetorically.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
Right.
Come on, a quick reaction. 1 minute. I want us to deal with...
Yao says we should not try to stop them or gag them, if you like.
But is that what you want to do?
No, we are not. We're not at all. From speaking to the matter which they feel is of essence to our national development. Nobody's stopping you at all. Nobody's gagging you. He goes further to say that, look, don't try to draw in equalization.
Is that what you want to do too?
Really? Why? Yao sits here as a member of the communication team of the NDC. I sit here as a member of the communication team of the New Patriotic Party. In the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution of Ghana, we espouse or they espouse multi-party democracy. The onus lies on each political party seeking to lead this country. And in any case, we had a candidate who the Ghanaian populace have given a mandate to lead this country. The onus lies on us as political actors in this country to ensure that the peace and security that we do enjoy is indeed at its hallmark. Clearly, you sit here, under your regime, we had cause to talk about the Azoka boys.
There we go.
Wait a minute.
Come on.
Please, come on. I'm not drawing equalization.
Come on.
I don't know. Let me make this point. Bright, when I make a point, you understand. We have cause. No.
Can I come in? Come on. I am in charge here. I'm the moderator.
Bright.
Yes.
Fine.
Okay. Now this is the point. We voted out the NDC and
well.
brought you in because you told us that you would deal with this problem of vigilantism.
Maybe if you had listened to me.
Is it necessary we should refer the days when it was there?
Very well. Maybe if you had listened to me, okay, and allowed me to land, you would have gotten where I'm coming from. I'm saying that we as political actors in this country owe it a duty to ensure that we enjoy the peace to maximum also. And I'm saying that under their regime, we had cause to talk about the Azoka boys. We had cause to talk about the kind of mayhem.
Which one?
The fights in Tamale, the maiming of people in Agbogulushi, the killing of people, the trying to stop justice to move on in a court in Tamale and all that by NDC youth. Again today, if you say the Delta Forces issue or matter came up, and Delta Force, of course, there are youth groups maybe within the MPP. If you say the Invisible Force, a youth group maybe within the MPP, it means that all of us here should not try to polarize these matters.
Did you promise a change from the past? Did the NPP promise a change?
If you heard me, when I was making my submission earlier, I never said that the youth groups in MPP would not actually behave untoward. Some of them may, and if they do, my solution or the solution I professed to it was that, look, let's try as much as possible to reach out, communicate well, get our youth groups actually united, get them feel that indeed the government of the day needs their support.
That is from the party level.
That's what I said.
At the party level.
If at the party level we're supposed to do this, and government, of course, why? We all know why. The president of the Republic of Ghana is for myself and Yao sitting here.
Right.
Is that not right?
Right.
And of course, we know that he's supposed to be the statesman who will take care of all of us. Clearly, if you say that the police service is supposed to ensure that there's peace and security in this country, I agree with you. Clearly. However, why do we say we are friends with the police? Why do we say sometimes Whistleblowers Act is supposed to be there for you to volunteer information for the police to act?
Come on, would you go to your constituency and say that this is a group of NPP supporters that I find misbehaving? The police, this is them. I have brought them. Deal with them. Is that what?
That's the point I just made.
So you
I just made a point like that. I just made a point. I told
exactly.
You that
that's why I wanted
the essence of enacting laws like Whistleblowers Act The essence of ensuring that we have informants, we're getting people to give police information. The essence of ensuring that the police sees you as a friend is to help all of us get a very, harmonious environment to live in. And I'm saying the onus lies on him, the onus lies on me, but not to sit down and do cheap politicking with matters that comes up like this.
I see.
That's not what we're talking about.
Kamal says he's ready to hand over NPP supporters who misbehave to the police. So perhaps we're making, and that's we're achieving some results.
But not to sit down and say the NPP government, the government has failed, and blah. That's not the way we should go.
You see, now he's blowing my comments out of proportion. because you see, I made very fair comments. I made very fair comments, and I'm not amazed, because this is a matter that actually pinches people like Hammer and so on. Because they think that, like, he himself,
I'm telling you to be nationalistic.
He himself made a point.
I'm telling you to be nationalistic.
This is making the government, unpopular and so on. But you see, Bright, this matter that we are discussing, vigilantism, why? Who doesn't know that today in the NPP, even when there is even when there is a case, you have a member of parliament in the NPP saying that you dare not touch these people. Who doesn't know that when the Savalugu issue,
because after that they were taken to court,
no problem. But you see, when the Savalugu, this is a matter that has come for discussion.
Can you allow him to go?
When the Savalugu incident occurred, we had the Northern Regional Chairman going to bail out the people that misbehaved. You get very, very key people in this government backing some of these actions, and that is part of the reason why it's never dying down. That's part of the reason why people feel empowered, because they know that they have people within government that are behind them. And I'm saying that is why that's why the government ought to act. And I'm talking about the president here. What have we seen? The
president is acting.
Well, maybe he's acting, but his actions are not yielding any result. So he better review his tactics and strategies. That is what we expect. And so it's not just about acting in vain. It's about acting to ensure that you get results. I am, in concluding, saying that we live in a country where we all want to live in peace. We live in a country where we are expecting results, we are expecting development and so on. And this is a matter that will not help in the building of the society that we all want to achieve. And I'm saying that for me, in opposition, the only thing I could do now is to ensure that where you people are falling short, I draw your attention. And in drawing your attention, if you are accommodative, it will go a long way to help you.
Just like I'm accommodative.
If you feel that, if you feel that it is an attack, that is
nobody feels it's an attack. And I think you and I agree that we need a harmonious environment to live in. You and I agree that we need a peaceful environment to live in. Is that not correct? And if you and I agree, and matters like this come, I tell you, look, eschew the cheap politicking in it.
What is the cheap politicking?
And let's ensure that we all condemn it.
I was moving away from this issue, but what is it that you think is politics here?
What is the cheap
politicking? The security agencies have the mandate to restore peace, ensure peace and order in the country. Why? People are misbehaving, and someone talks about it.
If you sit there and tell me an MP, a member of parliament who is supposed to be on the MPP divide or side, says that, look, I second or I'm daring whoever to fight these boys. Wait a minute. If you sit down and tell me that the president has issued directive and nothing has been done, and the president is actually a candidate that was put forward by the MPP, and today he's not acting, indeed, what are you trying to impugn?
You're drawing politics.
My point is that you're drawing politics into it. Okay. I'm saying that we have a security service agencies, security services, what's the name, in place, herein referred to as the police. And the police are supposed to work.
They should do
and I will give them support, volunteer information, help them out. And again, we go beyond that to say that, look, let's just ensure that we, as we strive to mobilize people to get support for our political parties. Let us use civil language. Let's get them involved. Let's get them understand that we need to be in touch with them so that we will have a very
if the police is not, if the police isn't doing what we have mandated them to do, whose duty is it to get them to work?
The president has just done his work.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. And I'm not sure.
I want it here.
Right.
The president
you are not
has
to
just
answer
done
the question, but I want to find out.
I mean,
as we sit today, are we in a chaotic situation in Ghana?
Right. Let me just a quick.
You just said that I'm not to answer questions. Wrap up for me.
Just a quick comment. I mean, Kamal's definition of bringing politics into this matter is because you make mention of the president's name. It's because you make mention of a statement by a member of parliament on their divide. And that is why, that is how he defines politics.
I'm supposed to decode what you say.
No,
I am supposed to decode what you say. The one listening to us is supposed to decode what you say. Okay, I am supposed to decode what you say. You've quoted it. And someone out there is supposed to decode it.
To wrap up so that we'll talk about ECG. Yeah, please wrap up.
Now he says he's a decoder.
The point is that, my brother, let us not be hypocritical.
No, I mean, let me
what we're driving.
He says that.
Please allow y'all to wrap up.
Come on, if you allow me, you'd understand. I mean, now you are saying that you are decoding my message. I mean, I don't know that was why you were sent here. But you see, right. You cannot. There's nothing wrong with politics. What is the problem is extreme partisan politicking in matters. When he says you are bringing politics in, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The president himself is a beneficiary of the politicking of the day. And so if there's a problem, how do you decouple that? How do you decouple the NPP from this government? They themselves say that they is their government. Now you sit here when there's a problem and say that we should decouple the government from the party. You people go around say, I mean, your National Youth Organizer, wasn't he saying that they are going to only send MPP people to Russia, etc. and so on? John Boydu says that the MPP people can even cook better, so they deserve the right to be the caterers for the school. You bring politics in every national issue. When there's a matter, you say we should decouple it.
What has Vicky got to do with
the Ghanaian Times this morning is talking about privatization of ECG and the compact too. No worker will be words of President assuring there. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has given the assurance that no worker of the ECG will be worse off under the proposed privatization of the company. The president said the government would ensure that the condition of workers was not worsened after the privatization of ECG under the second compact with the Millennium Challenge Corporation. The president gave the assurance when the Trade Union Congress called on him as the president. The president and the workers' union discussed a number of issues, including the ECG concession, proposed sale of VRA thermal plants, and SNIT behind closed doors. The Employment and Labour Relations Minister, Mr. Bafui, said he briefed the media and said the president gave the assurance that the privatization of the company would not negatively affect any worker of ECG. He assured to protect the interests of the public by ensuring that Ghanaians were fully engaged in running the ECG after the privatization. Yeah, I'm starting with you. This ECG thing, the workers are in court to stop the whole thing because they think that they will be worse off after the privatization. This assurance from government, the president, how should the workers take it?
Well, I think that personally, I have a different position to all this privatization of our state enterprises and so on. Because, I mean, the evidence has been clear. By the late 1980s, I mean, we had over 200 state-owned enterprises. Now we don't have any. I mean, there are only a few left. The justification was that if we transfer it into private hands, it will lead to productivity and its survival, and so most of them have collapsed. Time and again, I remember not long ago, we had an issue with water, the collection of water revenue, and we went into an agreement with Aquavitens Run. I mean, it was a fiasco. Today, we are being told that because of the numerous difficulties in the energy sector, and the fact that ECG is not able to collect revenue and so on, they need to go into a partnership to be able to collect the needed revenue so that VRA and all the people, I mean, in the chain will be able to get their resources and so on. What has happened was that PUU, which is supposed to be the mother union for the ECG, has been left out when it comes to the negotiations and so on, in terms of discuss. And that's one of the reasons why PUU is in court about the whole arrangement that is unfolding. But what I find interesting is the assurance from government that no worker is going to go. is going to be laid off. I mean, I find that interesting because if you have a state company of which government of Ghana owes 100% stake, and you are going to do away with about 49% to a private company, definitely, I mean, the ethics of business presupposes that once the people are running based on demand, supply, profit, and so on, they will be able to do restructuring, readjustment, rationalization of labor, and all these terms they use when they want to lay off workers. And so it's not there yet, but from previous experiences, I am very, very uncomfortable with what we are being told, because we've seen this. I mean, in the sale of the Vodafone, these same assurances were given that workers are not going to be laid off. In fact, the workers themselves, some of them were in support of the sale, only for the thing to be sold, and they ended up being laid off. We've seen it. What is, I mean, interesting now is that government is assuring that people are not going to be laid off. The other issue is also the statement from, I think, the minister that once people are, I mean, paid their redundancy,
they have to quit.
They have to quit. But you see, the argument of TUC is also that in the Labour Act, once there's supposed to be a reorganization, you are supposed to pay workers redundancy once that reorganization takes place. And that's Labour's position, that yes, there's going to be a reorganization, pay workers their redundancy. And that shouldn't necessarily lead to them not being able to work again in those institutions. I think that in all cases, what should be of paramount interest is the well-being of workers. What should be of paramount interest to Ghana should be the security of workers, I mean means of survival. And I would not be surprised that what we are being told wouldn't end up from previous experiences. I'm only hoping that this time around will be. But you see, one of the most interesting aspects of this whole thing is that part of the reason that we are being told for liquidating some shares in the ECG is that they are not able to pay VRA and all those things. But you know, as part of the conditions for this transfer, government is supposed to raise the resources to defray all those outstanding, liabilities. If government has the means to do that, which is a primary source of the reason why ECG is where it is, then why do we do that after which we hand it over to a private person? And you see, we need to address the root causes of why ECG ends up always being indebted. You cannot talk about the fact that, you see, in any serious country, electricity demand peaks in the afternoons when factories are working, when industry is in full-fledged and so on. It is the reverse in Ghana. In Ghana, you have high demand for electricity in the evenings when people are watching television, when people are using their irons and microwave and so on. That shows the nature of our economy, that our economy is not using electricity to produce, which would be linking the job creation issue, which would be linking all the other aspects of the economy that we need to be taking seriously. And so we need to restructure our economy, and we need to give a meaningful use of electricity and deal with all its accompanying.
Okay, yeah, I'm grateful.
I think once again, I would like to admonish that government outfit that deals with communication and, if you like, information dissemination would have to up their game a bit on this matter. Why? There seems to be a disconnect in terms of understanding what actually this deal is about in bringing about this concession and all that. Why am I saying this? Workers feel that we are not safe. Okay? When in actual fact, if you look at the agreement as we have it, the arrangement is that the 20-year plan of this concession that is supposed to be given, okay, is not supposed to see a single worker laid off. That is the agreement.
Is that practical?
Have they been told? That's why I'm saying that we need to up our game a bit in terms of information dissemination on this matter. Because I am aware that the agreement as we have it, okay, you're aware we inherited this agreement.
Right.
You know, the previous government actually was into it, and Pooh was not so happy about the way things were going. When we came, we had to do a lot of revision to ensure that, look, the 10 is on sound footing, that the Ghanaian worker is not shortchanged. We have done that. And I'm saying that the 20-year agreement that we're trying to go into is to see not a single worker laid off as we have it. Therefore, what is causing this brouhaha? What's causing this problem? Why are they saying that, look, we feel unsafe? The new managers who are supposed to take over, per the agreement, are not supposed to lay you off. And in fact, the agreement, as we do have, the Millennium, compact challenge power agreement, we have about $439 million and over dollars is supposed to be injected into ECG to help, this process. So I'm surprised that still there's some noise in it, to the extent that it's even in court, I'm told. Okay, seeking for an injunction not to embark on this deal and all that. I think it's about time we started educating, the workers. We started engaging more with them. Let them understand. Let there be clarity in whatever that we do have. My brother speaks here and talks about ECG actually overburdened, and it's true. I agree. Governments from time immemorial have always been the single heavy user of, electricity in this country, and owe a lot to ECG and, if you like, other power sectors like VRA and all that. Okay? Clearly, what are we doing to ensure that the power that we get is used for productive purposes? Very important. Industrialization ought to be looked at. No wonder we came out with one district, one factory. We are working hard to ensure that this country becomes very productive. No wonder. So for me, there's no apprehension. Okay. They shouldn't be worried. This matter is going to be dealt well, and per the agreement, the 20-year plan, not a single worker is supposed to be laid off, and I guess they're going to listen to us. Again, in 5 years, they're supposed to see a pay rise. All right. Juxtaposing that to the former agreement, which says that you are not even going to have your pay rise, and they were even looking at laying you off.
Kamal, I'm grateful.
Which one is better? This is better.
I'm grateful. Grateful for your time. I have to end the show here.
Oh, you're ending the show?
Yes, I am.
Oh, really?
Yapia Kubi is a member of the NDC's communication team. Kawadin Abdullah is the NPP's national Nasara coordinator. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this morning. But let me go to the Upper West region. For the pupils of the Kamahego Primary and Junior High School in that region, their dream of passing at the BC might not be fulfilled if they continue to lose contact hours. Teachers of a school commute 1 hour daily to school due to the lack of accommodation in the settler community in which the school is located. Teachers sleep in tents to enable them teach their pupils. The morning prayers is said, and soon they will be in their classrooms. But the teacher to take them through lessons won't be there. He just might have started his journey to school or in the middle of it. It is an hour or more on a motorbike from Wa, Busi or Dafiama, nearby communities. But it can be more during the rainy season. Kamahego is a settler community in the Dafiama Busi Isa district, and so there are no accommodation units for teachers. The community has managed to put up 2 rooms to enable teachers stay in and teach. This is, however, inadequate for 8 teachers. Almost all of them cannot stay here because they can't find accommodation. From either Dafiama or Busie town to the school will take you about 30 minutes if you're on a motorbike. In a rainy season, you can spend a whole hour getting to school. This is what the teachers do. There's one lady who's a national service person, so she has to stay here permanently, and that's where she stays. Now, the rest of the 7 teachers will have to manage with this. And this is where they sleep. So this is what they do. Now, a group of them, 3, will sleep one night. Now, the next day, the 3 will have to vacate and go to their houses to enable the other 3 to share the room for the next day. And so this is what they do. They practice a kind of a shift accommodation system just to enable them teach these little ones here.
This is to prevent a situation where at any point in time there is no teacher at all.
Some of the schools are at difficult to reach places. You need to travel long distances. And then for the teachers to travel, most of them are residing in Wa town and will have to commute throughout to the schools. So by the time they get there, they will reach school around 10 10:30. They have very few hours left to teach and to start going back home. Then the following day, they continue. So we realize that in a week, a teacher will just struggle to make 3 days.
District education authorities fear for the development of these children and are acting fast.
We are trying to cry to the district assembly to see how they can afford to add residential accommodation to the schools. Because at the health sector, if they build a cheap compound, they add a place of accommodation to the cheap compound so that whoever will be there, the nurse that will be there, will not be commuting to the center. He stays at post to aid patients in the night. So we are also pleading with the assembly that when they are putting up classroom blocks, they should think of the accommodation of the teacher.
This is not the school's only difficulty. The building is in a mess, the floor unpaved, and a threat to the health of pupils. Only 3 rooms serve class 1 to 6.
If you go in P1 is not supposed to combine with any class, but we combine P1, 2, and 3. And that if you go in to teach, you don't know whether you are teaching P1, P2, or P3. In that case, some people will be idling and they will be making noise. But all the same, we try to manage.
Appearance is not pleasant. A dusty room means children return home dirty. Teachers say a lot more children won't come to school because of the poor condition of the building. Some won't also come because they live in settler communities far away from the school. The district chief executive, who is only 6 months in office, is working at changing this.
I've already completed 1 junior high school and handed over. Plans are advanced also in my composite budget 2018 to roll out more schools more infrastructure in schools that need them. And also we are also even providing motorbikes to help the circuit supervisory team to monitor teachers who don't go to school, so that all these things we will uplift the education that we want to fit into the government's agenda of having education for all.
The Dafiama Busie Issa district, which is a new one, is working at reversing the 30% pass at the last basic education certificate examination. Authorities, however, say the work is enormous and will need support. Bright Nanamfo, TV3.
And we'll be bringing you many of such gifts from the north as Brighton and Amfo and the team gets out there to bring you some more. But let's check out some of your messages on social media. Alasan Wanaiwa says, those who pretend not to see the good work of President Nana Akufo-Addo are those that are wearing opaque or wooden spectacles. God bless the president. Good morning, Senior Bright, Dr. Ama and Mr. Hughes. I really appreciate the good work you guys are doing. God bless you all. From Isako Abdul Rahim in Tamale and Yohini. But I thought the NDC will change their communicators who misinformed the world, but they are still the same people on board. This is a potential 30 years in opposition. Oh, Nana Anoche in Kenton Chrono. Good morning to you, Senior Bright, Johnny and Ama. In fact, the issue of bigotry comments by the MPP and its loyalists is becoming one too many, but one should not get disturbed about the comments made by the public servant who is being paid by the taxpayers' money, because similar comments have been made by prominent people within the MPP. And there's a saying in my local dialect that the offsprings of a guinea fowl will not be walking when the parents or mother is in full flight, but they should be mindful of the things they say while in government, because they will not continue to be forever. Alhaji Abdul Razak in Wa Konta. And the issue of VRA has too much to handle. Does not add up, because in South Africa, only one company handles generation, transmission and distribution in about 7 countries. They should give us a break. Lazy man approach, you say. Good morning. Please find out from the Controller and Accountant General, both teaching and non-teaching staff at the Dabokpa Technical Institute in Tamale have not been paid their October salaries. Both teaching and non-teaching staff numbered 121 from a concerned teacher in the school. Well, this is interesting. We'll check it out and find you some answers. Defilement issues are becoming a sort of bad behavioral act. Defiling this 4-year-old kid is very bad. So the law must be enforced, and the one guilty must be punished accordingly. I agree with you. Destiny Internal says all these lawlessness going on in the country didn't start from today, and is the failure of our state security agencies, negligence and competence, you say. Come on in TV3. I'm worried about the future of our nation, especially the vigilante insurgencies in our political terrain. If care is not taken, it may one day turn into terrorist group. Johnny, politicians think of next election, not the state. They are the brain behind all these vigilante insurgencies. And if you check all the terrorists all around the world, politicians or political parties are behind somehow. Ghana, once a peaceful country, is drifting from the precious blood and toil of our forefathers. Where are the statesmen? Title Sinadu Takradi wants to know. Looking at these cases, I believe that the people who are doing that knows the reason behind that. If it's only for money, I believe that those who are doing that are mentally challenged, because I don't see anything in those small babies that looks attractive that will attract them to do such a thing. That is mental incapacitated on their part. Sofiano from Zabzugo says it's high time the leadership of the MPP sat up to put a stop to all the mayhem their people are causing all over the country in the name of being party loyalists. The good people of Ghana are tired of the worried situation we are in now. When are we going to wear long trousers in this country? Don't we blame the police for not maintaining law and order, or the politicians who are less God-fearing people? It's time to get the military involved, you say. Some of your messages will come up to you shortly, but let's step on the brakes at this point. We'll be back with some more action, sports, a conversation of SDGs, plus so much more here on NewDay. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us here on NewDay. We'll talk about gender-based violence, and I've been visited by three lovely ladies who are representing the United Nations, talking about the SDGs. Vida Ofeg Ado is Ghanaian, and she's here with me. Hi, Vida.
Hi.
Good morning. And we also have Eno Basi Inta from Nigeria.
Yes.
Hi, Eno.
Hello.
And last but not least, Tabitha Arinse Abimiko. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Great, from Nigeria. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Good.
Gender-based violence, and I'll start on the note of Ghana. A 4-year-old girl has been defiled, and we know how the story is traveling so far. I'll pick your personal thoughts about it. What do you make of this?
Well, it is very quite unfortunate. 4 years to think about it is so awful.
Right.
And I feel like this issue needs to travel to the largest extent as possible, because this is a lifetime consequences we're looking about. You know, I mean, very innocent child. So we are keeping our fingers crossed and being hopeful that authorities take this up to the largest extent that they can.
And Wabasi, tell me, what do you think of this?
Well, I think it's a very barbaric act, because a child should not be seen as a sexual being. I do not know how a person that is that old would see a child of 4 years old and think it is all right for you to touch that child and actually go through the act, because there are many women available. There are older women that you could have done that
Like
with.
yourself?
No, not like myself, but you can definitely find women, but for you to take an innocent child and do such a thing, a child who trusts you,
Okay.
it's a horrible thing to do.
What should be done to men like that?
Well, I'm in full support of penalties such as the death penalty, because rape on its own should be a life sentence in prison. But for you to actually see a child and do such a thing, knowing fully well the child's life is going to be changed permanently after such an act, there's no use for you anymore.
Tabitha, finally on this one.
Yeah, I would want to talk about the consequences. We have the short term, we have the long term consequences. It can lead to excessive bleeding, it can lead to shock, and the child can die. And how about the psychological effect on that child? You have tampered with the self-esteem of that child, which has a way of destroying that child for life if psychological attention it's not adequately provided to the child. And I feel also it's also a violation against the Child's Right Act, you know. So it's, as she has said, I also support a penalty, if possible.
And Obasi, tell me about FemPower. That's what you represent.
Yes.
Congratulations, I'm told you won an award at the UN.
Yes.
So what is FemPower?
FemPower is the acronym for Female Empowerment West Africa. We are a group that was formed as a result of the Youth Assembly at the United Nations.
Okay.
We are from West Africa. We are 5 from 4 West African countries, right. Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Mali.
Okay.
So we came together and we identified one problem that is common in our West African country, which is gender-based violence.
Right.
And we are specifically focused on female genital mutilation because that is one of the issues that is currently going on and needs to be abolished.
You ladies live out there in the West. How did you come together? Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, Sierra Leone?
So, as part of the delegates at the 2017 UN Youth Assembly, there was a random group formation that the authorities did. Okay. So, and that is the beauty of it, that we didn't know each other, but once the group was randomly formed, we came together and then we meet and, through conference calls and stuff, and then develop our project ideas, and we've come a long way.
Tabitha, now you have the mandate and the power, so you're back home. What are we to expect from you?
Well, basically, as FemPower West Africa, and we all like know how it came about. We actually came about an ambassadorial initiative where this victim of gender-based violence will actually be empowered. We'll give them basic life skills like the communication skills.
How are you going to do that? You get into the schools or you stay on TV and do press conferences?
No, we're going to use techniques like the community sensitization, because most of these things are carried out in communities. And from the communities we can also reach out to the schools, because it's not just the communities that you find issues of gender-based violence. We would have a network in the school, and we also have like a mentoring initiative. We also have a peer education where kids, teenagers can be mentored, and they can also serve as mentors to their peers. Through that, we ensure that they have this communication skill, that anytime they are faced with issues of gender-based violence, there should be a helpline, a network where they can be so confident to speak out, against that which they are passing through, And we also have issue of negotiation. We want to teach them skills, life skills, that can really shape on their life, give them value creation, make them look at themselves like they are worth, no matter what they've passed through, they can still live a great life.
Interesting that I'm looking at timelines, Enwabasi. Do we have timelines for this? We know it's the reach and spread of gender-based violence is heavy in Africa, but do we have timelines within which we want to achieve and end this possibly?
Yes, we do.
What is it? Share with me.
Well, we initially want to kick off in Sierra Leone because second to Mali, that is the largest country, that there's a largest prevalence after Mali. And in Sierra Leone, we would be able to focus on specific areas. So they are giving us a period of 1 year to be able to have a group of ambassadors. So we would work with them and we would see results from them. Then the ambassadors would help us spread our mandate. So we are looking at a period of 5 years for public sensitization first. But as for abolishments, we can't give a specific timeline. You can't give a specific
date. Okay, Vadi, you have the final word for me. Support base, what are you looking forward to as we wrap up this conversation?
Well, FemPower, we are available. Like Tabitha rightly said, we have a lot of initiatives, ambassador initiatives. So our doors are open. We're going to leave our contact number, and we're trying to reach as many people as possible. So anybody that is in need, or if you know of anybody that we could be of support
to, put out the number, go now. So
yes, so I mean, we're gonna reach out to you, leaders. We're gonna reach out to you, women, victims.
Social media pages they can follow you on.
Yes, you can actually go to our Facebook page, FemPower. Just type in FemPower, and then we'll be there.
FemPower and
FemPower West Africa.
FEMPOWR.
FEMPOWR.
Okay, great.
And yeah.
Thank you all very much. So that's it. Social Venture Challenge winners, they are all Africans, proud African women, and we celebrate them this morning because they are championing a very important subject matter. Tabitha, Vida, and Enobasi. Thank you very much, ladies, for coming. We'll take a break at this point. When we return, more action here on New Day. Stay. We'll be right back.
So we're going to have fun with Johnny on the dial.
Yeah, we will. But first, let's take a look at the documentary. I've recently seen somebody who looks like an albino who's attempting to bleach, and it's I've seen some before.
No, but for me,
an albino who is bleaching.
What is the point in wanting to change your color? Is it that you don't like what you have? You don't appreciate it? You want to follow or copy someone else? And for what purpose? I think if you have a self-esteem and you value who you are, what you are, it's not about the outward beauty. Yes, we may beautify ourselves to some extent, obviously, because it's more pleasurable to the eye. But really, what is within is what matters.
It's just like we change our phone housing. They're changing their,
No, but your phone housing, that's an accessory. Okay. So that's different. That wasn't created by God. Anyway, let me not.
Banku is breeches. Everybody is. Let's check out this one. Enjoy this, and perhaps you take a cue from it, whether to bleach or not to bleach. Check this out.
Skin lightening products prevent or inhibit pigmentation, including brown spots and freckles, consisting of anti-aging features. Although skin whitening products were initially aimed at facial care, the trend has changed, with companies offering products for overall skin care. Another trend in the skin lighteners market is the introduction of lightening products for men. Health experts say in Ghana, about 30% of women use lightening cream. A report from the global industry analyst in 2009 declared skin lightening a $10 billion industry globally and is expected to hit $23 billion by 2020. In Ghana, hydroquinone is one of the most popular skin bleaching products on the market, used to reduce the appearance of age spots, freckles, and other skin discolorizations. It works by reducing the amount of pigment created in the skin, which makes it look lighter. Additionally, the indiscriminate and extensive use of cosmetics containing hydroquinone can lead to the thinning of the skin, poor wound healing, the development of permanent stretch marks, excessive sweating, bad odor, among others. While other countries, including Australia, the United States and Japan, have cracked down on bleaching, the directive in Ghana to ban such products is significant, given the popularity of such products on the market. In January this year, the Food and Drugs Authority also stopped registering cosmetic products on the market that contain hydroquinone, a move intended to promote public safety among Ghanaians. The authority says it has launched sensitization programs against the sale of the product in the market. Despite these measures to control the sale, importation and use of these products, and also to protect consumers from potential health risks associated with abuse of hydroquinone-based creams, such creams continue to find their way in some cosmetic shops in the country. Health experts say while 2% hydroquinone-based cream causes minimal skin damage, most of the skin lightening products on the Ghanaian market contains 5 to 8% hydroquinone, in addition to cortisone, vitamin A, and mercury. Some traders who deal in cosmetic products at the Central Business District in Accra say although there are other products containing natural extracts which are more effective and safer, some consumers still opt for hydroquinone creams, despite the health concerns raised by dermatologists.
Those who produce the products nowadays use more fruits like pawpaw, avocado, and carrot in producing the pomade, which enlighten the skin.
Still sell them at the shop, like these Abidjan lotions and these foreign lotions. You'll find hydroquinone in it.
We have a lot of creams that bleach, a lot of cream with hydroquinone in them.
The Food and Drugs Authority has warned persons who indulge in skin bleaching to desist from the practice, since they stand the chance of not only damaging their skin, but also giving room to all manner of skin infections and other diseases. The Food and Drugs Authority says it will also screen all cosmetic products to ensure such creams are off the market. Manufacturers, retailers, importers and traders have been informed of the need to desist from selling hydroquinone-based soaps and creams.
The ones that you say are on the market are not supposed to be on the market. Any product with hydroquinone on the label, be it a cream, a lotion, a milk, a serum, a soap, is not permitted and it's not allowed. So if it's on the market, then it contravenes the law.
For this directive to be enforced, it appears the Food and Drugs Authority and all relevant stakeholders need to intensify advocacy on the strict enforcement of the ban of creams containing harmful bleaching agents, particularly hydroquinone, to promote public health and safety.
Obviously, what we see on those videos is nothing to go home by. You don't want to put yourself in that situation where you're disfigured when you actually want to attempt to bleach yourself. So love your skin, wear your skin, be you.
Yeah, and we want to apologize for some of the gory pictures that you saw, but we just had to show you the gravity of the danger of bleaching. And sometimes you find them in town. I mean, they look like old soldiers.
And I'm happy that's the name. But you know, Johnny, my question
is,
so
what does it mean? It serves you right?
It serves you right.
I wish there was a direct
translation, but it serves you right.
There you are. You know, as you're doing it, maybe you're not even sure, you didn't know the cream was going to bleach you, but you notice changes. Won't you stop? Won't you question
Is it really men who pushes ladies
I don't think so, because no man can influence me to change my skin if I don't want to.
I think that most of the ladies want to belong. They don't feel confident, like am I saying, but there are men who are bleaching too. I mean, if you check their knuckles, you check their elbows.
Because they claim that the young man these days are interested in ladies who are fair, and so they want to.
So let them go and chase those who are naturally fair, and there are some men who also like the dark ones. They'll come for you, won't they?
Anyway, let's step on the brakes. Let the conversation continue where you are. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back, guys, and thank you very much. So let me show you what tilapia has been up to recently. Interesting. This cartoon speaks volumes, doesn't it, Amma? Well, it says fearful political desperados, and you find 3 policemen. Okay, they have no ranks, but they are saluted. They are all saluted. All correct, sir. There's a political vigilante or vigilantism taking away seized government facilities and dragging along the government appointees. And there's a policeman. I don't know why he has a pot belly. Yes, for stealing 2 tubers of yam, you will rot inside. And the political vigilante is walking free. Is that the state we have now?
Johnny, I mean, I understand what tilapia is trying to depict, and that's how I feel, because right after we heard in Karaga the issue, we haven't dealt with that, and then we hear invisible forces rearing up their ugly heads again with the situation and, you know, sacking a government appointee from his job. So seemingly, even if the police is doing something, the reason why I agree with him saying they are saluting the vigilantes is because we don't see anything actively being done. We don't seem to see an end to this vigilantism issue because the police are not doing as much as they can do. We've wielded power into their hands to be able to clamp down on these people. But if they say they seemingly don't know how to go about it, or they are, you know,
anyway,
but the politician should have featured in that picture.
Well, the politician perhaps is the government appointee who has been dragged.
No, the politician should also be standing there saying all correct, because they seem to be looking.
I'm sure the politician took the photo.
Maybe.
I see. So, but we understand that our correspondent Portia Gabo is out there in the Netherlands upon the invitation of the Netherlands embassy here in Ghana and out there, and it's due to the arrival of the Queen of Netherlands. So we're excited about it, and we wish them all the best. And you know she'll bring you a very great report out there, like Senior Brad.
They actually will be doing a tour of the Queen's palace.
Right.
Ahead of her arrival. So they're going to get us all the pictures about where the Queen lives, what she does every day. Possibly the Queen will take them on that tour. And so before the Queen arrives next month, a day from now, not today, the Queen is arriving in November, we'll see all that the Queen, where she lives, how she works, and not everything about what's happening there. So stay right here on TV3, waiting the Queen's arrival.
Well, we've gone straight out of Ghana. And but we thank you very much for watching the show. I wanted to show you a photograph, you know, something, but
it's not opening?
It's not turning up. About how some ladies responding to the boyfriend. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will be some great news. Oh, well, it's not showing. But this is Cyril and George Queening. Yeah, they're out there.
They're getting ready for Daily Rant.
Yeah, it's a popular location for Daily Rant. So for those who are saying that, well, we're doing it from one spot, this is Daily Rant. Keep the conversation going. Cyril looks slightly...
he looks like a deportee.
He looks like he's bleached.
Is it a deportee or the bleach? Which is it?
No, he looks like a deportee.
I'm sure he wants to tone his skin to look like that of John Passer, but yeah.
So forgive, don't mind.
That's our producer there, producer there.
Yeah. It's everything. This is 2 years ago.
He's a great guy from Togris land, so he has a lot.
Is he from Nogopo?
Yes.
That's
okay.
And Cyril is always chanting. He scares me when he does.
He does?
Yes. You see me.
I'm told he can't produce a tablet of paracetamol. I don't know.
Oh, Cyril. That's you. Yeah, definitely. He'll sabotage the show tomorrow.
It's all right. Anyway.
But it's fine. We can handle it.
Tomorrow,
we have 3 against 1.
Tomorrow, Babina will come. I'll be safe. Anyway,
all right.
Thank you guys for watching. And top of the morning to you. It's Tuesday. Enjoy. Make it fun. Win. All we do is win.
Right.
It's pizza day.
It is. But importantly, today is the last day of the breast awareness, cancer awareness day. Take a chance and help a sister, help a mother, help an auntie. Everyone get into the act. Do a check and let's push that agenda. It's very, very important.
Of course, help yourself as well. Definitely you too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you're out there and you can't do it yourself, we're always a phone call away. Yeah, I mean, a phone call away. Senior Bright and
please call me. I am the doctor, the professional. I am entitled.
You don't need to be a
this.
Doctor to do this test.
Trust me for this, the agenda. Trust me.
What agenda? No, I think you're imputing motive now. You're imputing motive. Look.
We all know they can read into it. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Stay blessed.
If you can mash kenke on your own.
Hey, it's breast kenke.
I don't know. I say if you can.
What?
I said if you can mash kenke, then you should eat mash kenke today.
All right. Have a